Hey, it's Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo, and it's another week in review. Again, this one's more in the studio side of my basement. The couch, by the way, the couch is right, if you haven't heard this, the couch is right there, out of sight. This is my studio. It's just a little change of where the camera's pointing in my basement that's all dressed up to look as pretty as I possibly can. Possibly can being the operative word. But in any case, yeah, basically I'm running short on time before I have to run out, and so I decided to skip the 7-minute camera pivot, light pivot, all that. But we'll be back in the couch soon enough for a bunch of topical videos that are coming up. I've been so slammed with review content this past 2 weeks that topical videos and other fun things have been a little bit pushed off, but hopefully next week we'll have another one of those. But either way, week in review, which means time to go through everything from the games. At the end of the video, I'll talk about which of these games I plan. Well, I hope to play all of them, but I'll talk about why and general quick thoughts on those. I'll talk about, well, the usual stuff, news, tidbits, things about the channel, what I've played, and then of course the week in review, a quick overview of all the videos I put up this past week, including ones that haven't gone up in my timeline because I'm filming this Thursday morning. So let's jump into it. To begin with, a general note on, speaking of reviews, a general note on my reviews and things for the channel. So I actually talk about this in an upcoming unboxing. I say upcoming because I have so many unboxings right now that I have unboxings coming up for the following things. I have a Kemet unboxing, I have a Six Siege unboxing, I have a Black Rose Wars unboxing. I think I have more. I have Terraforming Mars unboxing, but that's going up my tomorrow, your Friday, so that should have gone up. I may have more, and I have more games still coming. So unboxings have become a little more common, so I do try to space them out. There's only so much rambling that even I can manage. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. We'll find out if there's a limit. But in any case, so that in my Black Rose unboxing, I do talk about this, but we can review, so I'm talking about it again. But just a general concept of reviews. So first of all, I'm slammed on reviews in a good way. No complaints here. I overcommitted to doing too many games, and I usually space out how many things I'm saying yes to, but I don't always manage the timeline of when those things occur. So in the next, it started already the past week, but over a roughly 10-day period, I have to have 13 reviews up. Most of those I already played and had filmed, but just an issue of scheduling and balancing and all that. But it basically means that there's a lot of reviews the past week and the next week and a half or so until I clear these up for upcoming Kickstarters and time-sensitive stuff. I have a whole bunch of other games I have to review as well, but less time-sensitive, less attached to current or active Kickstarters and the like. But along those lines, in that period of time, for a note for the channel basically is, I review on a 5-point scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1s are bad games. No games really get 1s. The games that get 1s, I'm not covering. 2s are going to be games that are not for me, either personal taste or I like the concept, but way too many issues, flaws, bugs for me to approve it or whatnot. Many 2s I will cover in the games leaving the collection video, but even then, 2s are still rare, and I generally don't review that many 2s because I don't like giving a 2 to a game after only one play, and I also don't like playing games again that would get a 2. So usually 2s happen in interesting cases like Pipeline and Cusco, games that I was intrigued enough to say, let me play it again despite the fact that I didn't enjoy my play. And then I played it again. I was like, nope, did not enjoy my play. But so straight up bad games, I usually just don't want to play again. So again, 2s will happen on the channel, but they'll be rare. 3s are far more common. And to be clear, again, 2s are not about protecting games. It's just that I'm unless and until someone's paying me money to play bad games, I don't want to spend time playing bad games. So I'll play the bad game once, I'll talk about it when it's leaving my collection, and that's about it, because I don't want to play a bad game twice. Again, with exceptions. But yeah, it's not about protecting people, it's just I don't want to play those games. So moving on to 3s. 3s are going to be the most common. 3s are going to be very common. Hey, this is a good game. This is a solid game. You might like it more than I did, but I liked it, but I'm probably not keeping it. Maybe I'm keeping it. It depends. Nothing against 3s. 3s are just good games, and there's a lot of good games. I'd rather focus on the great ones because there's so many games. Again, there are 3s in my collection. Many games I give 3s to will stay because sometimes I want to see if they'll grow, and sometimes I just like them enough to be able to pull them out on a here and there basis. Canvas is a game that I gave a 3 to, and it's absolutely moved to a 4. I really enjoy that one, and I will be doing, by the way, at some point, I'm waiting, but at some point I'll be doing Tom Vassal's approach of a look back series of probably in the week in review. I'll cover games I reviewed that week a year ago and tell you how my thoughts, feelings, opinions have changed. But I only started doing reviews very actively, meaning it's as opposed to infrequently. I only started doing them very actively. I believe it was somewhere around August, if I'm not mistaken, August of 2020. And so that's when I'll start doing it next year. But we'll figure it out. Basically, everything I've ever reviewed will be covered in where is it now, a year later. Fours are great games, solid games, really like them. Something about them stops them from being a 5, and then 5s are the games I absolutely adore, and I'm so glad I played it because I'm so happy I was able to add them to my collection. 4s, by the way, 4s are often games that if I had missed them, I'd be okay. There are many, many good games out there. We don't need all of them. 5s are the ones that I'm like, wow, I'm so happy I had the opportunity to try this. To that end, why am I talking about this? Because from January 1st through May 21st actually, meaning this basically first 5.5 months of the year, I gave 2 games, I think it was 2 games, might have been 3 games, I gave 3 games a 5. So in 5.5 months, I gave 3 games a 5. And by the way, I checked my full amount of reviews versus 5s I've given, and I believe it's roughly 8% or something like that, 7 or 8% of the games I play get a 5 out of 5. So it's a decent number. It's more than I thought it would be, but still a decent number. But in any case, those 3 games were Primal, and I didn't actually give Primal a 5 because I wasn't rating games back then, but it absolutely would be a 5. Then there was Wild Ascent, which I gave a 5 in the comments because I forgot to leave it in the video. And then there was Aquatica, which is a delightful little game from Arcane Wonders. That is a great game. Great, solid game. Really enjoy it. Happy to play it. Actually want to play it again now that I'm talking about it. But either way, so yeah, those are my 3 5 out of 5s. And the reason talking about that is because this next, already 2 of them I've given, but from May 22nd through June 1st, basically a week and a half, there's going to be 4 more 5s. Okay, 4 more 5s joined my ratings in this next week and a half. And I'm talking about this so that when you see 4 5 out of 5s, it's a reminder that I actually don't give them out that frequently. It's just been a very good week and a half for games, and a week and a half is relative. I've actually played more of them outside that range. They're going up in a week and a half period, but I would say May has been a good month for games. So what are those 5 games? To begin with, we have Destinies. Destinies, I was going to give a 4. I could not stop thinking about it, though. I had complaints about it, and I still have complaints about it, mainly related to the downtime and the mechanically light aspects of the game. But I can't stop thinking about it, and I still want to play it, and I want to own all of it, and I want to get everything that they put out for future content. I want them to make future content. I can't not give it a 5. Destinies, I really solidly enjoy. It's great experience. I can't speak for solo, by the way. I know at least one person who did not enjoy playing it solo, but I haven't played it solo, so I can't compare. I'd imagine I'd enjoy it less solo. Then we have The Witcher. The Witcher is a game that also is borderline. It's a 5, but it felt, hopefully I clearly stated this, but basically it's a 5 that can easily drift to a 4 over multiple plays. The gameplay from the base game was a lot of fun, potentially could get old and drift down to a 4. Potentially could even leave my collection. I really enjoyed the experience I had, but also saw the potential for it to become stale over time. That said, the Kickstarter adds a lot of things to it. The Witcher Kickstarter ongoing right now. The Kickstarter adds a lot of things to it that I think will keep it at a 5. I assume, just based on seeing the stuff. I don't know for sure. We'll see. But based on the Kickstarter, I think it'll stay at a 5, but ultimately time will tell on that one. Then, the 2 you have not seen yet, because one of them is going up later today, and the other one is likely going up Tuesday. So, those 2 are going to be Fall of the Mountain King. Fall of the Mountain King, I debated between a 4 and a 5. There's one specific aspect of the game that feels a little messy to me, a little more fiddly, and that was my debate, that one aspect. But I really enjoyed playing that. I played it online, I played it a few times with my friends, my group. Everyone in my group really enjoyed it. Surprisingly so. It's not like they enjoyed it. They enjoyed it, but we loved it. They all wanted to play the prototype again. My group doesn't want to, myself and my group, we rarely want to replay prototypes. Usually, once we're done with the prototype, we're like, okay, great, and we'll play it again when it's a final, produced, nicer game. Fall of the Mountain King, with all its, art that's not finished, and meeples and tokens that are not as beautiful as they could be. It basically looks like a, 3D print yourself kind of situation game. They all want to play it again, which is a testament to the game. It was a lot of fun. My group likes area control. It's an area control game. Understand that going in. But the puzzle, the game, simultaneously rewarding, lots of ways to score points, solid game. My favorite Burnt Island games yet to date. And then that review, by the way, is going up later today, so I just saved you 28 minutes. Then on Tuesday, likely, we have Mosaic, which is going to be which is almost certainly a 5 out of 5. I still want to get at least another player or 2 in, but Because again, I take 5 out of 5s a little bit more seriously. I want to get more plays before I put a review out saying it's 5 out of 5. But I'm 90% sure Mosaic is getting a 5 out of 5. To me, it feels like Terraforming Mars in all the right ways. Terraforming Mars is one of my favorite games of all time. It feels like Terraforming Mars in all the right ways, and yet also feels different enough that there's 100% space for both in my collection. It hits a lot of the same notes in the feeling it gives me, but a very different experience at the same time. And I know, because you're speaking for Jeremy Howard and Jeremy Howard alone, he does not like Terraforming Mars and he loves Mosaic, so... which just goes to show, once again, that Jeremy Howard is wrong about Terraforming Mars. So, Jeremy, love you, bro. But, in any case, so that's going to be Terraforming Mars, that's Terraforming Mars, it's going to be Mosaic. Mosaic is going to get another 5 out of 5. Basically, May has been an incredibly solid month for games, and yeah, that's my whole long spiel on 5 out of 5s on reviews. So, past that, I'm going to have to grab my paper because it's falling down, so I can't trust it to actually see off camera. But my paper is going to, I'm going to go ahead and prop this behind so it looks, again, like it's off camera. Just, there. Now it's propped to something, okay? I basically folded it over. Usually I have it on the camera, but different setup. I just folded it over on itself, but it was collapsing, so I couldn't see things. Yeah, I do have bullet points. I don't read from a script, but I do have bullet points because otherwise I'd forget everything. Which is why, by the way, if you ever watch my videos and you see my eyes glancing down occasionally, like just a small subtle glance, it's usually me looking at the piece of paper underneath the camera. But that said, so news time. News time, we have a few things. We have some Pledge Manager stuff. We have some updates on Kickstarters and some general news. So first of all, I missed this one last week because I filmed these. Last week it was announced Friday, and I usually film these Thursday. Sometimes I film it Friday, but if I film it Friday, it's very early Friday. Because I gotta get this up, I gotta get it loaded, I gotta cut off the front and end of this, potentially clean up anything that goes on in the video. I mean, clean up just means like, if I cough or something, and actually it's rare that I cough in these videos because there's no top shot to cut in. Usually the nice part of having a top shot in games is if I cough in an hour and a half long gameplay, I can switch to the top shot and cut out the thingy and it looks all clean and everything else. Basically editing, but clean editing. Yeah, long way from never editing on this channel. I like stuff too much. Anyways, this is all a bit of a tangent. Point is that Come On announced that they are doing an Army of the Dead Zombicide, and first of all, Army of the Dead is good. The new Netflix movie with Zack Snyder, Dave Bautista. Basically, I haven't seen the ratings in it. I haven't seen official ratings from Rotten Tomatoes. I've seen on my Facebook feed mixed reviews, people who thought it was incredible, people who were like, "Wow, I can't believe I wasted 2 hours of my life." All kinds of different things, but ultimately, that is neither here nor there. The point is, Come On's making a Zombicide game out of that. I assume it's going to fall into the same vein as Night of the Living Dead. I assume it will either be straight to retail, which is not Night of the Living Dead, but my bigger assumption is it's likely going to be one of those week-long Kickstarters with like, and here's 4 extra characters if you back the Kickstarter, but not Come On's typical, here's our giant, ridiculous, over-the-top Kickstarter game. For myself, almost certainly not getting it. I passed on Night of the Living Dead. I reluctantly traded for it eventually just to like get that completionist aspect of me, and then I got rid of it without playing it because I have too much Zombicide. As it is, I'd rather stick to these Zombicides that give me over-the-top amounts of content as opposed to, hey, let's make a video game adaptation, which if they do anything like they did with Night of the Living Dead, also means it's dumbed down to appeal to a more casual audience of people who aren't used to games and are coming in because they know Army of the Dead. So, not my thing in general. From there we have Arnak. Arnak, Lost Ruins of Arnak is giving out a free solo expansion on BoardGameGeek. You can go ahead and either use the app, you can download an app on your phone, or you can download it print and play so you can actually play with it. What is going on this update there? But yeah, you can download the print and play as well, so different options for you, but it's a free expansion, free solo campaign for Lost Ruins of Arnak. I will absolutely be downloading it while I can. I mean, I assume it's free forever, but who knows? But I don't know if I'm going to play through it. I like Lost Ruins of Arnak, but the problem with it is my wife likes it so much, Rina likes it so much, that if I played it solo, she might resent me. Genuinely. She might be like, why are you spending time playing that game by yourself when you could be playing it with me? That's fair criticism, so I don't know if I'll ever play it solo for that reason. But just want to let you know, in case you didn't know already, in case you didn't see the ads on BGG or wherever you are. Speaking of BGG, Lost Ruins of Arnak, I called a long time ago that I believe this is top 100 material, and Lost Ruins of Arnak has broken into the top 100, so has Dune Imperium for that matter. Both Lost Ruins of Arnak and Dune Imperium have broken into the top 100. Dune Imperium is my least favorite of those three, of Endless Winter, Arnak, and Dune Imperium, but least favorite still has it as an excellent game for me. I don't know if I rated it officially. If I did rate them, Endless Winter's a 5, Arnak's a 5, and Dune Imperium is likely a 4, possibly a 5. I need to play more. I would say 4. It doesn't give me that same hype and buzz feeling. I really enjoy it. Solid game. I would say Arnak has gotten better over time. The gap, when I did my comparison video, it was Endless Winter, Arnak, and Dune Imperium, like tiny little margins. And I would say over multiple plays, Arnak has grown Endless Winter has stayed the same because I haven't played in a long time. So it's possible Arnak will overcome Endless Winter. I need to play Endless Winter as a final game to make that determination. But Arnak has certainly grown with multiple plays, and Dune Imperium has gone a little bit down. So that gap has shifted. I believe on BGG, Dune Imperium is rated higher than Arnak, by the way. I could be wrong, but I believe. Either way, both broke their way into the top 100. I think it's an interesting conversation to see what happens with Endless Winter, because I believe Endless Winter is the best of the three. Again, I need more plays to keep that to know that still, but I really enjoyed it. And I think a lot of people who played it enjoyed it as well. I think a lot of people will enjoy it. My curiosity more stems from the idea of a Kickstarter game versus a retail game. What degree of time does it take to make their way there? Because Endless Winter did very well on Kickstarter, but it's still missing that slow buzz of everyone playing it and then waiting for the next print run and then coming out. It's still waiting that retail buzz that you have. It has the Kickstarter buzz, which is all front loaded, as opposed to the slow build up of a retail buzz where people are talking about it and you're waiting for the next print run to get your game. I'm curious to see how that affects BGG rankings. And again, keep in mind, there's different kinds of rankings. There's the individual ranking of a game, that is an 8.1 and 8.4, whatever it is. And then there's BGG rankings, which take into account popularity as well, the number of rankings, which is why you'll have a game in the top 100 that might be a 7.4 versus you might have an 8.3 that's not in the top 100. I don't think the 7.4 is in the top 100. That seems too low, but you get my drift. The point is, the BGG rankings are a mix of high rankings plus popularity. So I'm curious what that means for the comparison of these three in, a year and a half from now. Anyways, moving on, this news segment today is longer than usual. Moving on, Bloodstone gave an update. Bloodstone, the canceled Kickstarter, is from Skybound Games. They gave an update basically saying it's coming early 2022. They're gonna have Valor and Villainy Minions of Mordak. No, that's not true. They're gonna have the Valor and Villainy expansion, whatever it's called, coming to Kickstarter later this year. Plus, they have Tidal Blades 2 coming to Kickstarter, which means I probably should get a copy of Tidal Blades played. I don't have Tidal Blades, but maybe I should get a copy of it to play it. We'll see. Either way, but point is that aside from Valor and Villainy coming and aside from Tidal Blades 2, it means Bloodstone is slated for 2022, early 2022 at some point. They showed the results of the poll, the conversation, things they're working on. Effectively what they're trying to do, this is bad news, guys. This is bad news. They're trying to come back to Kickstarter with more heroes, more bosses, and a cheaper price. I know that's frustrating. I know that's hard to hear. I'm sorry, I'm right there with you. I was hoping for less heroes, less bosses, and a more expensive price. So they're 0 for 3 on that one. Shame on them. But no, in all seriousness, this is why I was okay with them being canceled. When I played Bloodstone, loved it. I believe I gave it a 4 to 5 because it is very much on the lighter side. It's hard. It's also one that I would border between 4 versus 5, but it is hard. I need to play it more to see where it goes. I really enjoy it, to be very clear, but also lots and lots of dice rolling. The agency versus luck ratio is high there's both. It's a still very, very enjoyable game. Lots of agency, also lots of luck. Leads to lots of fun moments, but also lots of frustrating moments. Could go either way. But anyways, really enjoyed that game, and I was happy to see it canceled because while I loved the game, happy is potentially the wrong word, but you know what I mean. The point is, I believe the Kickstarter could have done more. I believe the Kickstarter could have been better, and I wanted more content for the game. Selfishly, I wanted more content. It was a light enough, accessible enough game that I believe I would play more content. Like Marvel United, I believe more content would make the game better. It would be accessible and fun and add to the experience. And like Marvel United, if I eventually spend $800 in it, I'll put out a video telling you why I shouldn't have spent $800 on Bloodstone. By the way, it better not be $800. Let's just put it that way. Anyways, that's going to be Bloodstone. Moving on from there, we have Foundations of Rome. For those who are interested, I'll probably announce this in my Monday video as well, but I'm announcing it here because this goes till Monday. But Foundations of Rome is opening up their pledge manager one last time. Limited copies available. They said that. I don't know if it's true. Marketing, who knows? Maybe there's limited copies available. Maybe there's not. Shouldn't really matter. Either you want one or you don't. The limitation factor should only be a consideration for how quickly you go to that link, not whether you go to that link. So, anyways, point is, head on over to Foundations of Rome if you are interested. Foundations of Rome is a solid game. Had an opportunity to play it online. Only one play, so take it with a grain of salt. But I really like my one play, and I am all in on that one, including Sundrop on the miniatures and everything. They are opening up the pledge manager one last time until they're saying one last time, but again, they've said that before. So I'm trying to blend giving you news, but keeping it tempered and balanced with potential reality and marketing and all those things. But anyways, through May 31st, which is through Monday. So I'll announce this Monday as well. But for those of you who watch my Monday video on Tuesday, well, you should have been watching my weekend review too. So that's going to be that. And finally, we get into the what I played. This video is entirely too long. What I played. What I played is going to be, let's just get rid of these little things. Okay. Here we go. What I played this week. Now, this week was actually one of the lightest weeks I've had in a long time in terms of gaming, which is going to be, okay, so I've played, I think, roughly like 10 or 11 games this week, which many of you are saying, lightest week in gaming. Jeez, Alex, come on. Like, I haven't played a game in 3.5 weeks. Have some pity on me. I do. You should play more games. Games are a cool hobby. I like them. I think there's a lot of benefits to them, and yeah. But anyways, I took a bit of well, my break is not really a break. I've been catching up on making sure I get all the videos filmed. I have a lot of games in the backlog that I need to do reviews for. Lots of games I've played, so my ratio this week has been a little less playing, a little bit more time on camera. Not to mention, because I was not feeling well, I've been trying to go to sleep a little earlier this whole week just to give my body what it needs to recover. So it has led to less playing of games, but again, less is relative. So, what have I played? I played more Fall of the Mountain King. Fall of the Mountain King is excellent. I think I mentioned that this video. I've been playing Final Fusion. Got a few plays of Final Fusion in. Final Fusion is going up, I think the video is going up June 1st. A review going up June 1st for that. That's going to be by Gindi from Enchanters. We have Red Rising. Got some more plays of Red Rising in. That one's staying stagnant for me. It's not getting better. It's not getting worse. Every time I play Red Rising, I don't enjoy the game that much. And doing the game, I actively debate whether to get rid of it. And then I get to the scoring at like the end, the last few minutes where I'm like, really, my hand is developed. And then I find I'm like, oh, I could have gotten a better scoring. So I keep playing it because it's a half-hour long game with a rewarding end game that I keep working towards. I can't imagine it staying in my collection forever. Any game that I am thinking as I play it that I'm getting rid of it, and then I keep it because the end game is good, it's a weird hybrid. But for right now, I'm still playing it and enjoying it. Enjoying is a relative term. But I give it one a 3 out of 5, and I'll stand by that 3 out of 5. Only been a week since that review. Then I have Mia London. Mia London, got some games of that with my kids. Pulled up Mia London, which Ricky has played, Yoda has played. My kids are Ricky, Yoda, Tavi, and Rafi. Rafi's 1.5. He's not playing games. We don't have to do those. I have a 1.5-year-old kid. Can you suggest any games? None. No games for your 1.5-year-old kid. But past that, so I played Mia London. I got a few games of that in with Ricky, Yoda, and Tavi. Yep, those are the right ones. And they enjoyed it. Ricky's played it before. Yoda and Tavi, I don't believe they have. But they have a lot of fun. It's a quick little 10-minute flipbook game that it's a great little matching game. Would not recommend playing with adults unless you're drunk. Probably fun if you're drunk. Not that I recommend games if you're drunk, because I never get drunk. But if you're drunk, I can imagine that game being absolutely hilarious. Genuinely, if you play games drunk, get that game. Now that I think about it, it's a solid game. From there, we got Sheepy Time. Sheepy Time from AEG, got another play of that in. I'll have a review coming with Ricky at some point on that one. That's a new AEG game. Cute game. I'll have a review on it, but my short version is, I think it's a solid family game. I really like what it's doing. A little bit of push your luck. Lots of fun to it. Also can't imagine playing it with adults. Fall of the Mountain King, got more Fall of the Mountain King. I believe I mentioned that I like that game. We have Raiders of Scythia. Raiders of Scythia, we'll talk about that one more at some point. Raiders of Scythia is going to be the newer version of Raiders of the North Sea, combining aspects of the expansion all together. And I think it is better than Raiders of the North Sea. That is absolutely true. But problem is that the entire Architects of West Kingdom, or the entire West Kingdom and North Sea trilogies, I have never kept any of them. I have thought they were all good games, but I am in the minority of people who just doesn't see why they're so amazing. I say this with no disrespect to the games. Shem Phillips has 3 games in the top 100. I think it's 3. That is insane. Okay, that is an insane testament to any one individual. Good for him. Good for his games. Good for everyone who likes those games. I like them. I'll never turn down a play. I just don't see the buzz about them. But we'll come back to Raiders of Scythia another time. Marvel United. Got some more Marvel United in. That's a fun game. I was able to pull that one out with a non-gamer, effectively. Non-gamer is not a negative term, but practically speaking, someone who doesn't play games, doesn't play a lot of games, or doesn't play any of the games that are typically in my basement around me. And he was like, hey, I'd love to play something. And I was like, you're going to be overwhelmed. This is not cool. And I was like, Marvel United. I can play Marvel United with myself, my gamer friend, and my non-gamer friend, and we'll all have a good time. That's why I spent $800 on Marvel United, he justifies to himself. From there, what else did I play? I played Ice. I got a play of Ice in. Ice is probably still on Kickstarter as we speak. Let me just quickly check. Ice. Let me go to my Kickstarter app because I did back it. Ice. Let's go here. Nope. That's African Empires. Monumental. Profile. Ice. 162 backed projects. Wow. Okay. James Hudson. This is specifically to James Hudson. If you watch this video, you just said you crossed 1,000 backed projects. I back a lot of Kickstarters, and yet I'm only at 162. So you, sir, are putting me to shame. Absolutely. That's how. I'm not sure whether I should be embarrassed because I only have 162 or that you should be embarrassed because you crossed 1,000. We'll have to talk about this later. Anyways, Ice. Ice has 4 days to go when I'm filming this, which means that probably 4 days. It's Thursday now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's going to end like on Monday, seemingly. Cool. So I'll talk about it Monday as well. But effectively, Ice is a really solid game. I don't like the scoring in the game, like at all. Like I don't. Like I've genuinely written up my own like scoring system that either I'll end up using myself potentially or just to talk with the developers. I found the scoring to be the least rewarding part of the game. But the rest of the game, I really, really, really like. The rest of the game is a 5 out of 5 for me, and the scoring is like a 2 out of 5 for me. So the combination, I gave it a 4 out of 5. But I really enjoy Ice. It is simple, it's rewarding, but it's fun. It's really fun to burrow under the ice, to use your archaeologists, to manipulate them, to go down. It is a gimmick, but it's a gimmick that is necessary for the system it's giving you. Ice, if you're not familiar, is a game where you dig under the ice slowly but surely. Currently on Kickstarter, it is expensive. It's not cheap. This is like, I mean, expensive relative, but it's not a cheap game for the experience it's giving, and it is arguably on the lighter side if you exclude the scoring. The scoring is where it gets heavier, but also fiddly. I hope they find, and they made notes that they're looking into things, that the game, they're still in the middle of polishing and updating things they brought to Kickstarter before it's necessarily 100% ready. So I'm optimistic. Either way, I like it even in its current form. So Ice is a solid game. High recommendation there from me. I really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Which brings us, finally, to not what I played, I just did what I played. Brings us to the week in review. Week in review is as follows. To begin with, on Saturday, last Saturday, we had Adventures in Alchemy and Destinies reviews. Adventures in Alchemy is more of almost a preview. I don't do previews on this channel. Now again, previews versus reviews is terminology. The way I utilize the term is a preview, while it can have an opinion attached to it, generally is showing you the game, and a review is giving you pros and cons of the game. Adventures in Alchemy is going to be the closest I ever came to just showing you the game, because it's just more of the same. It's good. I like it. Good stuff. But it's mostly more of the same from what Adventure Tactics brought you, and just more and better. Some new things, but nothing crazy. Nothing that I feel is like review worthy, but more good stuff. If you like Adventure Tactics, I would recommend getting Adventures in Alchemy. It's going to give you more fun ways to level up your characters and encounter things, and also miniatures. So yeah, I recommend that one. Then past that, we have Destinies. Destinies, like I said already, Destinies is one of my 5 out of 5s. I adore that game. I cannot wait to play more of it. I need to play some of the stuff solo. I want to play like the first scenario again with Ricky to see if she likes it. The rest of it, I'm trying to like match up with Quackalope and Shira and continue playing through the game together. Rina, my wife, does not like the game, unfortunately. It's okay. We will share Lost Ruins of Arnak experiences and other experiences together instead. But that is going to be Destinies. Solid game. Absolutely adore it. Lucky Duck knocked it out of the park. And the reviews across the board, for the most part, are very praiseworthy. I've seen tons of Game of the Year comments, tons of just hype and buzz. Either people are getting sucked up in each other's hype, or it's just a good game. Both are possible, but I assume it's just a good game. From there, Sunday was going to be our review of The Witcher. Similarly, Witcher was another 5 out of 5. Again, one that could potentially go down over time. We'll see, but I don't think it will, because I think the Kickstarter addresses my problems with the game. My biggest problem was the lack of monster variety in the game. That's my biggest problem. A few other small nitpicks, and the Kickstarter will make the monsters feel different. Not lack of monster variety, lack of the monsters feeling different. And the Kickstarter addresses both the monster variety and the monsters feeling different. So that was my review of The Witcher. Currently on Kickstarter, by the way. Monday was a light week for new Kickstarters, so instead I did a video on 12 big box Kickstarters that weren't for me. Basically 12 just gigantic games like Joan of Arc and Reichbusters. Imagine games with tons of boxes, but I basically did not keep them, and I just went through them. Sorry, got some burps there. So, basically, I did not keep a bunch of games. These are 12 big box games that I did not keep for one reason or another, going through them and covering what about them made them not for me. Because not all games are for me. I back a lot of games. I get a lot of games. Some I keep, some I don't keep. I think the number of games in my collection, that roughly 250 or so, has remained fairly stable the past year and a half. What has not remained stable is the size of the boxes. So I'll get rid of a copy of Quinto, and I'll get an all-in pledge of, Zombicide 2nd Edition. So I need more Calyx cubbies, even though I have the same number of games. That was Monday. Tuesday was going to be my Should You Back It? Nope, that's not true. That was Wednesday. Tuesday was going to be Robot Quest Arena review and Ice review. Ice playthrough and review. Robot Quest Arena was basically, it's a lighter game. I don't know if I'm backing that one yet. I'm intrigued by it. I liked it, but also it falls into that lighter category of things that I enjoy my play. Happy to pull it out, happy to play with people, but I have a lot of lighter games in that category. I don't know if I want to add that one to my collection, but it depends what you're looking for. It was definitely a lot of fun, very accessible. I am looking at the Kickstarter, just for context. I'm looking at the Kickstarter to see what's being added or whether I'm pulled in. I kind of want to back it. I'm also trying to have self-control. It's not a critique on the game. It's just I have a lot of games and I'd rather spend less money on Kickstarter. So we'll see how that goes. What about Quest Arena? Then we have Ice. Ice is a game that I am backing on Kickstarter because it feels so ridiculously unique. It is incredibly rewarding in the gameplay. The endgame scoring is fiddly, but I can house rule that to a variety of options, even if I don't like the final options they give me. Like, I already have notes of how I will house rule the game if I don't like the final version of what they provide. So that's going to be Ice. And that is Ice. Moving on to Wednesday. Wednesday was going to be The Witcher, Should You Back It? I talk about The Witcher, and The Witcher, Should You Back It? I talk about The Witcher going through the campaign. It hit, what was it, 2.5 million day one. If you count the Polish site, it was like 3.1 million in one day. In 24 hours, it was $3.1 million raised between Kickstarter and their Polish counterpart site. That is insanity. Absolute insanity. But it's gonna be a big one. We'll see where it actually ends up on Kickstarter. I think it's gonna cross 5 million. I have to double check what you have to be in the top 10 Kickstarter games of all time. I believe around 5 million is the mark to be in the top 10 Kickstarter board games of all time. Thursday was going to be 10 games we're sure we'll love with Sarah Shaw. A video I did together with Sarah Shaw covering 10 games, as you might imagine, that we're sure we'll love. Basically, the premise of the video was picking games that we are certain we'll like, and then just calling out, this is why we think we'll like it, and we are sure. Not like we'll just hope we'll like it. We are sure we're going to love these games. So far, Sarah has done better than this. I mean, we filmed it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I have played one of those games so far, and yes, I indeed like it. Sarah has played, I think, 3 of those games so far, and likes all 3 of them. So far, we're doing well on our lists. We'll see how it continues to go. Our hope is that over the next year, we'll put out a video like a year from now covering those 10 games, whether we're right or not. So we'll see how that goes. Then Friday was a live Q&A with Rina, followed by a unboxing video of Terraforming Mars, one of my many unboxing videos that I'm trying to pace slowly throughout the week. Trying to have more than 2 a week, but there's so many that I might have to have more than 2 a week. We'll see. I usually throw them up later in the day, just because I can't fit them in anywhere else. I have too many videos to cover. Then that was going to be, that's the whole week. So Q&A, all that stuff, unboxing. Yeah, that's the week. Saturday. Today, what do we have today? Today we have 2 reviews going up. We have a review for Scape currently on Kickstarter. Check that one out. And then we have a review for Fall of the Mountain King going up on Kickstarter on June 1st. So check that out as well. It's Fall of the Mountain King. Fall of the Mountain King is a delightful game. I believe I mentioned that a few times during this video. And then next week we will absolutely have a 2-back or not to back on Monday, because it is one of the busiest 2-back or not to backs we've had in a long time. First of all, we have like 4 or 5 we're catching up from last week because I skipped, and combine that with one of the heaviest drops. This past Tuesday was one of the heaviest Kickstarter drops I've seen in probably in months. And so it's going to be a busy 2-back or not to back video. It's likely going to be in the hour plus range. Sorry about that, and I have to spend a lot of research on that, so that's going to be my Sunday. We'll go through that, and then later in the week, we will have a Games Leaving the Collection video. Looks a little lighter in terms of games leaving the collection this month. No major heavy hitters yet. That said, the way I do games leaving my collection is, as I decide throughout the month, they go on a particular shelf, and then right before I do the video, I also scan my collection and give games the stinky eye that I'm like, don't know if I need to play you anymore compared to the other games I have. So it's a hybrid of both. And often the heavier hitters are usually in the second category. The ones that I decide throughout the month are good games, but it was easier. I wasn't forcing myself to decide. Versus the ones at the end of the month, that's when I'm really being much more critical, and that's when usually the games like Wingspan, like, I can't remember all the heavy hitters I've dropped recently, but lots of heavy hitters will usually drop from when I'm doing that final curtailing of my collection. And lastly, first of all, these weren't supposed to necessarily be in the shop, but these are dice trays. I'll be covering these in an upcoming video. These are all from the Chai Tea for 2 Kickstarter. Just fun little dice trays. I'm going to go ahead and fold one of them, just because why not? But they are available to buy on that Kickstarter, so go ahead and check those out. I'm not being paid for the spot, but yes, I was sent these dice trays. And also because I raved about the dice trays, which is why I was sent the dice trays. But anyways, that's going to be that. Once you give it a few good bends, that's when you want to clip it together. Lastly, games are going to be to my, go ahead, let me just get 2 clips. Once you get 2 clips, it usually sticks, because the first clip wants to pull apart a little too heavily. Okay, so this one requires a few more bends. We'll just have to hold it for a second. Once you give it a little bend, it holds. So, what do we have over here? We have Ecos with expansion. I will have a review of Ecos at some point. We want to play the expansion as well, so I can cover the expansion in the same review. Hope to get that to the table this weekend. Then we have 6 Siege. I really would like to get to the table this weekend. I don't know if I will. I will, of course, have content coming. I'll have an unboxing. I hope to have, well, you know, the review, playthrough, maybe playthrough, we'll see. It's primarily a 2-player game that you could play in teams, but we'll see how that goes. Then we have Cyclades. I'd love to play Cyclades. I think we're playing it tonight, actually, but we will see. And then lastly, Kemet. Kemet Blood and Sand, I have an unboxing video that I already filmed, has not yet gone up, but will go up soon. But I hope to have a Kemet Blood and Sand, well, I mean, I hope to play it, but I'll have a review after I play it. I love Kemet. I'm curious whether this one improves or takes away from the experience. That has been a longer video. That's your week in review. I will see you throughout the day. I mean, I'm going to be playing games throughout the day, but you can have fun watching the other videos throughout the day. And I, of course, will see you Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and forever and ever and ever. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo, and have a good one.